Houston Game Day on ESPN 97.5. It is Rock the Mic weekend. We're joined this segment by our third finalist, Mr. Ryan Crochet. Good morning.
Good morning, good morning. Thanks for having me. Good to be here.
So the lead question has been, what got you here? What compelled you to come out for Rock the Mic in 2013?
Man, I'm a sports nut. I love listening to you guys on the radio every weekend. I listen to the Blitz every day on the way home to make the Beltway tolerable.
Okay.
And I thought, hey, I heard the Rock the Mic contest was coming up. Let's give it a shot, and here I am.
You don't strike me as a native Houstonian, however.
I am actually
Really?
a native Houstonian, raised in Spring on the north side of town. Went up north for college, and then I came back here as soon as I could.
Where'd you go up north for
I went to
college?
Notre Dame.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, I'm a Golden Domer.
You're
I
a
saw your
Domer.
hat. Saw your hat when I walked in and smiled. So.
Well, before we go any farther, we're going to get into the NCAA rankings a little bit later. Everett Golson gone for the year. What do you think?
Broke my heart. The school did what they had to do. They've always done that. They're an immediate action kind of program. Tommy Reese is coming in. We're fortunate. Hey, we're fortunate enough to have a backup that's got some experience. At the same time, he's kind of.
It's Tommy Reese.
Yeah, he's maxed out. He's maxed out at his abilities. The kid's got some records, but I just don't see it.
I haven't been in the loop as much as I am. Any chance of Andrew Hendricks from Lake Zaire getting the nod?
I don't think so. I really don't. And the thing is, I'm being optimistic with 9 wins, I think, this year. I think one, we're going to just be straight out matched. One, we're going to lose to a team we shouldn't lose. And one is going to be strictly on the shoulders of Tommy Reese.
Who's the team that the Irish shouldn't lose to?
That we should lose to or
Should not that they will lose to on that schedule.
Oh, man.
BC?
No. BC is just terrible. They're a dumpster fire.
But that's the
they're
team
horrible.
that usually jumps up and bites the Irish.
I think we definitely should beat Arizona State, but they may have a shot at surprising us. A lot of people are hot on Arizona State this year.
Shamrock Series game.
That's
like
right.
that.
That's right.
Well, we're moving into, I guess, technically what is week 4 of the preseason, because now they're counting the Hall of Fame game as an official week unto itself. This week, Texans at home again, but they're drawing New Orleans Saints, who again have looked really good. They beat the Raiders up pretty good Friday night. Drew Brees looking good. That Saints defense again, getting to the Raider quarterbacks 7 times. We may get a chance to see more of the real Texans, probably playing a lot more closer to 3/4. What do you expect in this week?
Well, you're definitely going to see that front line we talked about from yesterday to see if they can improve what happened. Newton struggled quite a bit. There was Ben Tate, who wasn't getting many yards at all on his carries, 4 attempts, only 12 yards. So the Texans are going to look to make adjustments versus the Saints. I don't want to say they should be scared with the Saints defense. We've seen them give up some pretty historically bad numbers defensively last season. I would imagine it'll be a little bit better with their head guy back in Peyton. So we'll see what happens. I think, again, it's preseason, and you can't weigh anything too heavy on it.
Yeah, I think the Saints are going to be playing some inspired football with Sean Payton back, and they're out to prove something. They also come out of what I think is going to be a really great division this year. Tampa Bay is on the up and up, and then you've got Carolina, who Cam Newton's always fun to watch. But Drew Brees is a consummate professional. He's going to throw the ball, he's going to sling the ball, and I think it's going to be interesting to see how our defense holds up to that. As well as controlling Will Smith coming off the corner offensively. Our offensive line might struggle with that a little bit.
You look at Breeze, and again, as sharp as he's looked already in the preseason, he's got relatively unproven band of receivers he's going with. He's got Lance Moore, who's been around, all-world tight end Jimmy Graham. In the fantasy world, there's Jimmy Graham, and right now there's kind of everybody else. You got Nick Toon, the son of Al Toon, the old school New York Jet. Kenny Stills has been around for a little bit long. I guess this will be his first real season playing. How much does a difference does a guy like Sean Payton make, where a team that's historically bad last year, how much difference does he make, especially with a young band of receivers like this?
I think traditionally he's been really good with the young guys. He relates to them well. You could see it whenever he got suspended last year. That whole team was deflated. They put up the huge banner of him, saying go to work in their stadium whenever he wasn't there. But I think he really relates well to the younger guys, and it's a younger NFL. And I think that's going to show this season.
I think we'll see just how important a head coach is to a team. We never really know, because a coach may go out for 1 game or 2 games. And if they lose those games, we say, hey, look how important that head coach was. We see the Saints completely fall off the map. Now, do they come back to prominence and win 11 or 12 games this season? We'll see how important Peyton really is to that team.
Didn't the Colts kind of flush that argument away, though, last year?
Well, they also had Andrew Luck with the Magic Man. I mean, there's some games. I mean, yes, you still have Drew Brees.
Saints had Drew Brees.
You still have Drew Brees, but it seemed like the stars just aligned for the Colts last year. There were games that they should have lost. That Lions game where they came back and won the final second, that was a loss right there. The entire game, that was an L, and they were able to make it happen. Sometimes the stars just align, and I really felt like nothing really went the Saints' way last season.
I agree, and on the Colts talk from last year, don't look for Andrew Luck to have the same kind of numbers he had last year, because I don't foresee them being behind in games like they were last year. It turned into a Little League shootout in a lot of their games last year, and I just don't see that happening.
It's very tough to really gauge the Colts because they could be a 7-9 and 8-8 team for all we know, and Andrew Luck could still put up those numbers that he did last year, and they could be 8-8. It's really hard to judge what they'll come out and do.
What was interesting getting back to the Saints last year is my feeling watching them on offense is if they even played 7% better on defense, there's games that they would have won. You might be looking at a 10-6 team with a couple breaks here and there. You got a new defensive coordinator, Rob Ryan, who definitely has something to prove after being ousted in Dallas. What difference does he make down there in the Crescent City?
I mean, looking at Rob Ryan, you watch him. I wish he hadn't cut his hair because he looked like a pirate, and it was awesome. And it was an instant intimidation factor. But he's a great defensive coordinator. I think that he's going to bring a lot to the team. I think he's going to be okay there. But the Saints, traditionally, it kind of seems like it's been their MO that they've got to have an opportunistic defense. Look at the year they won the Super Bowl. They had more turnovers than anybody else in the league that year, and I think that that's what they're going to need to take that next step this year.
You got Jonathan Vilma out until further notice. What does that impact that D?
Well, he was out for a little bit last year, and they were terrible. So I tend to think that he's kind of a stalwart in the middle of that defense, and he's one of the leaders of that defense, and I think it's going to hurt him.
I know that if the Saints play defensively like they did last year, Ryan is absolutely going to blow a gasket. If he was ready to just explode on that Cowboys sideline the past few seasons, he may really explode this season with the Saints if they don't show improvement.
Could we be looking possibly at undercover, under the radar, maybe one of the best divisions now?
If you look at that NFC as a whole, across the board, I think top to bottom in every division, they're light years ahead of the AFC. And yeah, they're secretly becoming one of the better divisions. They're going to have, offensively, they're all powerhouses. The differentiating factor is going to be their defenses and who comes through.
And Atlanta doesn't get the attention that a New England Patriots or a Denver Broncos gets, but if you were to put the Falcons on paper, I would say they are as good as any team in the NFL, and you may even be able to make the case they could be the best team in the NFL in the regular season. We don't know the postseason.
See, I got them at 10-6. I got them as a team last year. If you look at a lot of their wins, you got Matt Bryan on kicking a 53-yarder late. They are in very many games a break or two away from not being in that position. I got no faith in Atlanta, frankly.
You've also got to think about the fact that they've added Steven Jackson, who, he hit that 30-year-old mark, but he is an unbelievable running back. Not to mention the Tampa Bay Buccaneers run the ball more than anybody in the red zone. Third in the league behind, our Texans. But, Steven Jackson, he's a beast. And you got to think about the fact that he's done what he's done on the Rams, who are awful. And so now you've got a running back who comes in who can bruise the ball. He's a receiving running back as well, added to the weapons that Matt Ryan already has, and this offense is poised to become one of the best in the league.
I definitely agree. I think that the Falcons, with Matt Ryan and Julio Jones, we've seen some incredible plays last year. Yes, they didn't blow teams out, but the way they play in close games, the way that they know how to win at any cost, is a sign of a championship football team, in my opinion. Matt Ryan, obviously everyone is concerned about what he's going to do in the postseason, to put it lightly. But I think eventually he gets over this hump. We've seen the same thing with Peyton Manning. It took him a long time to get over that hump. I still have faith that Matt Ryan comes through. And you just got to hope.
I have no faith in Matt Ryan.
You just got to hope that
he's
it's
a Boston
not the
College
season.
Golden Eagle.
Vastly overrated. Yeah, really.
I don't think so. I think Matt Ryan comes through eventually. Granted, again, he has to prove it in the postseason. He hasn't proven that to us yet.
I think he's also going to have to prove it against a fully put together New Orleans Saints team too. And the Saints and Sean, and they were his daddy for a lot of years now. And I think he had a 1-year reprieve. I think reality sets back in this year.
I just don't think the Saints can make a playoff run through 4 possible games with that defense. I think that they're going to be improved. I believe everybody thinks the Saints are going to be improved with Peyton back. I just don't think it gets them through 4 games.
See, that's my whole point. Is they don't have to be vastly improved. They just need to be a little bit improved to make two of those losses into wins.
And add on to the fact that they're going to have to play Tampa Bay twice. You mentioned Tampa Bay. watch out for Tampa Bay, man.
Yeah, Nash, Cam Newton, and the Panthers
yeah.
either, you know?
And Tampa Bay's defense, they were top 10 defense against the rush last year. They added Darrelle Revis, who knows how he's going to play coming back from his injury, but he's a shutdown corner. They added Golston. I mean, Tampa Bay is going to creep on some people this year.
Well, Ryan Crochet, your Houston Game Day audition is coming to a close. What do you think, sir?
I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me. It's been really fun.
Andy, what do you think?
I think you did pretty stupendous.
Did you
All of
bring
our
it?
guys, they brought it hard. They brought it with some passion, and I
Bring
like
in
it.
the ruckus.
Good stuff. We are. Andy, come on, man.
Go Irish.
I didn't
Make
go
it
to Notre
happen.
Dame. I can't say that.
Hey, that's okay. You're
I'm a
repping them in Houston.
I'm a Towson Tiger.
That's a ballsy move, repping them in Houston. I like
He
that.
shrugs like, what the hell's Towson? Nice one. All right, man. Who on the other side of the break, coming back for our second hour, we are joined by Rock the Mic finalist number 4. Who do we got, Michael? Sweet, the Sooner. All right, Maggie. Get ready to bring it. You're next. This is Houston Game Day on ESPN 97.5. Ryan, it's Josh.